Yeah.
All right. So, Jake, how about you introduce yourself a little bit? Just tell them who you are and what you do.
Okay. My name's Jake. I'm 30 years old. I own the Flying Dutchman Company. I restore classic automobiles out of San Diego. And yeah, this is pretty much all I do.
All right. So, this Google Hangout session is going to cover setting goals and how to achieve them. The reason why I chose to do this is because I see a lot of people in my own life, as well as myself. I struggle myself. Uh, People are constantly setting goals, and especially with the new year coming upon us, it's only about a month or so away. New Year's resolutions are super popular. Everyone wants to lose weight or get that new job or, buy a big house, whatever it may be. They're always setting these goals. But typically, after about a month or two of setting a particular goal, they fall off the wagon. They lose it and they give up. And the reason why is because most people don't have a solid structure when they set goals in place. They just say, this is what I want. I know I kind of have to do this stuff, so I'm just going to do it. And there's no buffers kind of holding them together. There's nothing solid, no solid foundation holding them together. And the thing is goals are what drives our lives. I mean, goals are what drives our careers, our relationships, our health, what we do with our free time. So they're really, really important. Um, they come in numerous forms. So some people have really short-term goals, like I want to lose 10 pounds before I go on vacation. That was one of mine. It could be as simple as I want to become a millionaire. So that'd be a more long-term goal. Some are very trivial, like I want to go see my favorite band in concert this summer, and some are incredibly vital to their lives, like I want to find my soulmate, things like that. So we all have different goals, and we usually have more than one at one time. So one thing, I guess since Jake, you're the only one here right now, I would like to ask you, what are some goals that you haven't been able to achieve in the past, and why do you think that is?
Um, One of my personal goals is a fitness goal. Um, it all comes down to whether or not I will allow myself to do something. Like, oh, should I spend money on myself, or should I, take time for myself? Um, I know not everyone owns a business and has that kind of a commitment to something, but a lot of times I find like it is more important than I am, but it is me in the same, in the same breath. Um, and that's over the past couple of years, that's what, you know, is priority. And I'll go for a spurt where I'll run for like 3 months, and I've got a habit, and it's all good. But then the situation at work in the business changes, and I have to respond. So that's, I think, the reason why I'm not able to meet that simple goal.
Gotcha. Okay. And I'm sure a lot of people have had similar goals themselves. So anybody who's going to watch this or is watching this right now, what I want you to do right now is go ahead and write down a goal for yourself that you want to set. It can be as simple as uh, making your bed every single day to becoming a millionaire. It could be as simple or as complicated as you want. And just write that down. So I'll give you a few seconds. Okay. So by now you should have been able to write something down. So now the goal of this Hangout is to provide you with a framework that can help you better achieve that goal and even other goals in the future. So there's one particular acronym that's really popular in the personal development field when it comes to achieving goals. It's called SMART, S-M-A-R-T. So I'm going to run down through each of those right now and just kind of give you a description of each of them. And this is what's really going to help you take that goal that you just wrote down and formulate it into something cohesive and something that you can really execute and follow through with. So the S in SMART stands for specific. So it's incredibly important to be specific when you're setting your goals. You can't just say, I want to lose weight. You can't just say, I want to get in shape. You can't just say, I want to have a healthier lifestyle. You need to be specific. So to give you an idea, it's the difference between I want to be a millionaire and I want to make $50,000 a month over the next 10 years by building consumer websites. That would be a cohesive goal. So an easy way to really build that detail, because a lot of times you don't know exactly how you're going to go about these things. When you want to be specific about the goal that you're setting, these are the questions that you kind of want to ask. Who is involved in this goal? So obviously yourself should be involved, but who else also will play a role? So for example, if you're wanting to eat healthier, who are you going to have to get into touch with? Who are you going to need as a support group? Who's going to provide you with some wisdom? And who's going to be there to hold you accountable if you're not following through on these things? The other is what. So what exactly is the actual goal? Because, for example, saying, I want to eat healthier, well, you could go into your fridge right now, grab a carrot, and eat that carrot. That doesn't mean that you've achieved the goal. So you really have to determine at what point has this goal been achieved. So for example, using eating healthier as an example, it could be something like, I would like to eat 1,500 calories a day and 2 different vegetables per meal, 5 days a week. That would be a substantial goal. To be more specific, you can say that you're going to do that for the rest of your life, for 6 months. It all depends on exactly what you aim to accomplish. The next is when. So that's this next portion is when does the goal become achieved? And when does this all take place? So for example, eating vegetables twice per meal and taking in a certain amount of calories per day and doing this over the course of a week, spread out over months, spread out over years, so on and so forth. You really need to build exactly what it is. So the early example I gave you was make $50,000 a month over the next 10 years. So that's specific. I want to be a millionaire. The problem is that you're not going to wake up a day later and suddenly become a millionaire. It's going to have to be something that grows over time. So you really have to set those small milestones, even though those aren't your ultimate goal. Those are tiny, controllable pieces that you can follow to lead up to that goal that you're attempting to achieve. Where would be the other portion of this? So where are you going to achieve this goal? So the early example I gave mentioned that this person was going to make $50,000 a month over the next 10 years by building consumer websites. So that's the location at which their focus is, which means that anything outside of that they're attempting to do is not coinciding with what goal they're trying to make. If, for example, you're trying to eat healthier, that means that some locations that are important is your kitchen, the grocery store or the farmer's market, and then where you're actually dining as well. Because, I mean, we all know that there's going to be those days where you can't make your meal every single day. And I think one of the most important portions of this specific part of the goal is the why. Why are you trying to accomplish this? Because so many times we all set goals for ourselves, and we think that we understand the purpose behind it, but ultimately we don't have the motivation because we don't understand why we're doing it in the first place. For example, the eating healthier. A lot of people are told over and over and over again through the media, you know, you got to eat healthy, low carbs, high protein, get your cardio in, this and that. But really, what does that mean? Why would that be important to you? Other than the fact that we all know, okay, that means that you're healthier. For example, somebody who maybe has a history of heart disease in their family. Well, eating a healthier diet will reduce that risk of heart disease. That is a very strong motivational factor. There are plenty of studies that have proven that eating a particular healthy diet will actually lower your heart rate or your risk of heart disease significantly, almost by 90%. I believe I was on a vegan diet for a year, and I remember doing some research on the vegan diet, and it's ridiculous, like how much healthier your body becomes in just that short amount of time. So the last one is how. So how exactly are you going to accomplish this? And that's really the detail-driven portion of this. You really have to map out specifically what you're going to do. So, for example, Jake, you mentioned, you know, you were trying to get healthy, get in shape. You had a few months where you were running, and it was going great, but as soon as work picked up, you had that same free time to go running at all. Well, an example of how you can continue this goal even when some outside forces interfere, really being specific of what you're doing. Is it the running that's going to get you in shape, or is it the physical activity, the raising your heart rate that's getting you in shape? Because the thing is, well, in one, you have a physical job, so you have that going for you.
Yeah.
But if you're able, what's that?
The thing is, what was stopping me was I would, you know, I'd have a dinner break, and then I'd go for a run, you know, before dinner, and then I'd want to go back out to the shop and continue working, and it wasn't in me. I was just beat after that.
You're exhausted.
I was exhausted, yeah. And it's hard to, you know, do fine work when you're, you know, wiped out.
So I remember doing some research on this myself, because I get pretty busy with work as well. And, you know, for example, this Friday I had a 7 a.m. meeting, but then I closed at work, so I didn't get home till like 10:30. So it was a long day. There wasn't really a window to go work out. Yeah. So I always look up ways that I can still get some kind of fitness in,
okay,
even when I work. So what you want to do is when you're setting a goal, whatever it may be, could be your example or it could be any other example, is you want to find out exactly what you're trying to accomplish. So, for example, you were just trying to get physical activity in. You were trying to get your heart rate up, get some cardio in, work your muscles a little bit, get that blood pumping. You could set the same goal even if you can't run while you're at work. So you could do little things throughout the day, whether it's, you know, for example, getting a pull-up bar, and you could literally put that in your doorway, like in one of the doorways in your shop.
Yeah.
And in between, you know, grabbing a piece of metal or whatever, you could be doing 10 pull-ups. So every time you walk by it, you do 10 pull-ups. I mean, that is, I can guarantee you, that'll substantially help with your goal.
Yeah.
And if you do little by little like that, it's not going to be something that's overwhelming that's going to exhaust you.
Mm-hmm.
So you really have to find out ways to avoid when life gets in the way, to have that not interfere with your goal.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's specific, which was very specific. The next part of the SMART goals is M, which is measurable. So in order to set an actual logical goal, you need to make sure it's something that you can measure. So that's the difference between I want to be a healthier person and I'll eat vegetables twice a day and exercise 4 times a week.
Mhm.
Those are specific measurable results. Those are things that you can track over time. And actually, I have a couple tools that you can use that I'm going to list later that'll help you with keeping track of those things. Because that's pretty tough too, especially, busy schedule. You're going to be like, oh man, did I eat vegetables today? Was that yesterday? Those kind of things. So we'll go into that too, but that's a pretty straightforward example. So I'm trying to think of other, I don't know, Jake, can you think of any other examples of maybe goals where you can kind of compare it to being more vague and being measurable?
Losing focus. There's so many things that can distract you during the day. If I could keep my focus better, I could get more done in a shorter amount of time and, make more money, have the time to work out, do things other than just work, all those things. That one's just such a simple thing that I'd like to improve, and it would, create vast waves of progress.
Okay, so maybe a way that you could measure that would be your break time and your focus time.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of things normally distract you when you're at work?
Anything on the phone. It's like I have to put the phone completely away, like in a drawer, to get anything done.
Okay.
That's
So,
it. Phone
so you
call.
mean like social networking, checking your emails, things like that?
That, like, even touching the phone, like, I scan and I wipe. I make all my emails are cleared. All new posts on Instagram have been seen. Like all that. It's like, why am I doing this? Like, sometimes I get frustrated. I just,
Oh,
put the phone
man.
down.
So there's an app for that, believe it or not.
Okay.
I swear to you, and I'm gonna find it out for you. I'll post it when I post this video on our page.
Yeah.
But there's actually an app that'll help you with that. It'll actually turn off your ability to use those applications.
Okay.
I definitely have a similar problem when I'm at work and there's downtime. I mean, the first thing I do is I pull out my phone and see who's texted me or check my Snapchats, whatever it may be. I actually watched a video, I think I posted in the Night Project, about kind of disconnecting a little bit with your technology.
Yeah.
And kind of reconnecting with other people. And when I saw that, I told myself, when I'm at work, I get 30 minutes. 30 minutes out of the whole time I'm at work, I can be on my phone. So what I do is, before I even unlock my phone, I have an iPhone, so I can swipe up from the bottom and open the timer.
Mm-hmm.
I just have like the regular timer, like if you were timing yourself running. Let me see, stopwatch. There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. Can you see that?
Yep.
A little bit. Yeah. Okay. So all I do is, before I even start using the phone, I tap start, and I do whatever I want to do on my phone. I hit stop when I'm done, and then I lock my phone. And then if I pull it back out again, start.
Start up. Yeah.
And
You
the
can
limit
really
is
see
30 minutes. What's that?
Then you can really see what kind of time you're actually spending on it.
Oh, absolutely. If you want to just try it for fun, I say you just do it for like a week or something. See how much you actually dedicate to it. It'll blow your mind.
Right.
But when you set yourself with that limit, so for example, you want to stay focused, so a measurable portion of that goal could be you want to dedicate only 30 minutes a day to your phone needs.
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes while you're at work, that's all you get. As soon as that's done, phone's turned off, goes in the car, whatever, it's out of sight, out of mind. You cannot touch it. That will increase your productivity.
Yeah.
That is a measurable thing that you can do.
Absolutely.
And you can mark that every day. I did under 30 minutes, I did under 30 minutes. The other nice thing is that you can increase your productivity over time by having these measurable goals. Because let's say you set it at 30 minutes, and maybe the first couple days, maybe you do well one day, so you hit like 26 minutes day one, 29 minutes day two, 23 minutes day four, whatever. And then suddenly, like a week later, you realize, oh crap, like I've not been following time, or I went 36 minutes this day, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because you're following your progress as you're going along. You're measuring these results. You can see exactly where you're at. So that'll help motivate you to follow that track. On top of that, if you finally are following that goal, so you're hitting under 30 minutes every single day, and you see that as you track it, you can bring down the bar. You can drop it to 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And all that's going to do is increase more productivity. It may not seem like a lot because it's only 10 minutes, but you'd be amazed at what 10 minutes can do. 10 minutes could be the moment that you have like the greatest idea you've ever had. You know what I mean? All it takes is a second, right?
Yeah, true.
So, and it could be what means you finishing a project that day or having to table it until the following day.
Right.
Which I'm sure you know, with projects, that slows things down a lot.
It has happened, yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we're going to go on to the next one. So the A in SMART stands for attainable. So what this means is the difference between I want to own a house next year and I want to own a home in the next 7 years. And what that means is, for example, if you have $500 in your checking account, you have no savings, you have $50,000 in student loans, and your monthly income is $3,500, the odds of you reaching a goal of buying a house next year, pretty slim to none unless you start dating Oprah Winfrey. So that's not a real attainable goal. Or, for example, let's see, what's another non-attainable goal? I want to become the most popular guy at work. Okay? Not that that's not attainable, but it's an unrealistic representation of a goal. You cannot assume that you can make everybody like you. That's something that's out of your control. I think that I think is the important factor when it comes to attainable, is what is in your control. You know, I want to lose 50 pounds by the end of the year. Well, guess what? There's only a month and a half left. You lose 50 pounds before the end of the year, that's extremely unhealthy, and you probably shouldn't be doing it. And on top of that, you have to go back to the specific and ask yourself why you're doing that in the first place. So when it comes to attainable, you really have to understand what is in your control and what is not in your control. Another one may be relationships. I mean, relationships are really important, especially, you know, as all of us become adults and we're in the real world doing our real thing. We lose touch with a lot of friends, maybe family members, and a lot of us may sit there and say, okay, well, a goal I want to set for myself is I want to be closer with, you know, my brother or my sister or my cousin, whoever it may be. Well, you have to keep in mind that a goal like that is not necessarily attainable, because it's up to the other party as well if they want to be closer to you. Now, an example, so I'll use that as an example, a goal that you could set for yourself would be, I want to commit to calling my sister 2 times a week and attempt to talk for at least 30 minutes at a time. Like, set aside 30 minutes at a time, 2 times a week, to talk to my sister to help build that relationship. That's something that's attainable. Now, obviously, if they hang up on you or they have no interest, that's fine. But the idea is that that's what's in your control. You have control of picking up the phone, dialing the number, making the phone call. You do not have control over the other person's feelings towards the situation. So you have to make sure that's something that's realistic and attainable, and it's in your control. The next part is R, which is relevant. So relevant, really this one is the goal actually relevant to you? Is this something that you really want, or is this something that somebody else is telling you you have to have? So I'll use the money example again. So I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire in a year. Okay. Is that really relevant to your life? Is that going to bring you any happiness? Is that going to assist in your growth? Is that following your purpose? I think is a real question. Does this goal fall in line or correlate with my purpose in life? If you have to answer no to that, then this probably isn't a goal that you should set for yourself. Or perhaps you should modify the goal so it does coincide with what your purpose is. So that's a pretty straightforward one. You really just have to ask yourself whether or not this is meaningful to you. Trying to think of an example. I want to, I don't know, this one's going to be a vague goal, but I want to be better with picking up girls. Okay? So in the relevant portion of this goal setting, I have to ask myself, is that what's important to me? Is that I'm better at picking up girls? Or what is the real question, or what is the real end product that I'm trying to get for myself? Yeah, so somebody who's going to say, okay, so I want to set a goal for myself, I want to be better with girls. They can go through all these steps, and so, let's say with specific, they say, okay, I'm going to go on 2 dates a week with a different girl every single week for 3 months. That's going to be my goal, and that's going to make me better with women. Because by that time, just about anybody, you go on that many dates, you're going to be pretty good at communicating with women. You have to ask yourself, what's the end result going to be? Okay, so you're good with talking to women. How does that coincide with your purpose? Is this something that's really just trying to fill loneliness? Are you looking for a life partner? Are you just trying to connect with other people, like strengthen relationships with people? Or are you really just trying to gain popularity? Do you just want to be the playboy, that popular playboy, Dan Blazarian or whatever, that popular guy on Instagram? So many guys envy him, and they want to be him. And that's a perfect example, because you really have to ask yourself why. What about that is going to bring you any happiness or contentment? Okay, so that's relevant. So the last part of the SMART goals is timely. So what that means is you have to have a deadline. You have to give yourself a time at which this is accomplished. If you just say, I want to lose 50 pounds, the problem with just saying I want to lose 50 pounds is you have a whole life ahead of you. So what will happen, and this is the problem that most people have, for example, New Year's resolutions. Okay, I want to lose 50 pounds this year. Okay, that's their deadline this year. What ends up happening is that they sit there and they say, I have plenty of time. I have plenty of time. Oh, I can go out and eat horrible food tonight because I have plenty of time to make it up. And the problem with that is that eventually you give up. You fall behind, you don't see progress, you don't see change, because you haven't really set any deadlines for yourself, so you just give up. By setting an actual deadline, you're allowing yourself a certain amount of time to accomplish this task, and it's just like anything else. I would use school as an example. So a teacher gives you a paper assignment that you have to write. It is due in 2 weeks. Rain or shine, you got to write that shit within 2 weeks. And if you're anything like me in college, I would procrastinate till the very last minute, but I would get it done. I wouldn't write 2 pages and then put it off for a week and go, it's no big deal, whatever, I'll get it done. And then the 2 weeks go by and I go, oh yeah, I just give up because I didn't finish it. You gotta follow those deadlines. So I'll just use the weight loss thing as an example. It's just really easy to do that. So a deadline for that would be, I want to lose 2 pounds a week, every week, for 8 weeks.
Yeah, milestones.
Yeah, small, like definitive, controllable milestones. By doing that, one, you're able to track your progress a whole lot more accurately. When you spread it out over a long period of time, it kind of gets blurred out. Whereas if you set the small milestones, you can really track it piece by piece by piece. The other thing is by setting these shorter deadlines and these more timely mini goals, I guess you could say, what that also allows you to do is accomplish mini goals little by
Yeah,
little,
realistic.
which is only going to add to your confidence, and it's going to make achieving this goal feel more real to you. So that is extremely powerful as well. So that's SMART goals. This is something I actually learned a couple years ago. Some people know the acronym, some people have heard of it before but never really looked into it. But when goal setting, I mean, this is something that everybody should really focus on, because a lot of times we just say, okay, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, I'm going to exercise, and I'll eat healthy. And that's their goal. And what ends up happening, they don't hit their goal.
They really
They
are,
have
yeah.
nothing there to really structure what they're trying to accomplish. So I found a few quotes, too, that I found kind of inspiring that I wanted to share. One is by Gail Devers. I have no idea who that is, but it's a really nice quote. It says, "Keep your dreams alive. Understand to achieve anything requires faith and belief in yourself, vision, hard work, determination, and dedication. Remember, all things are possible for those who believe." There's another one by Vince Lombardi. Hopefully you all know who that is. And that says, "Leaders aren't born, they are made. And they are made just like anything else, through hard work. And that's the price we'll have to pay to achieve that goal, or any goal." And then I have one more by Arnold Schwarzenegger. And that's, "For me, life is continuously being hungry. The meaning of life is not simply to exist, to survive, but to move ahead, to go up, to achieve, to conquer." These are all quotes that I really like, that kind of explain the importance of goal setting, and that it includes working your ass off, really dedicating yourself, and having a solid vision of exactly what you're trying to accomplish. So now that we have this goal, what do we do? So on that same piece of paper that you guys wrote down that simple goal, I want you now to take that goal and write it out as detailed as possible. Build yourself that specific goal and make sure that you follow each of those steps. So make sure it's measurable, make sure it's attainable, make sure it's relevant to your own purpose, and make sure you have actual deadlines. It's timely. So I'll give you a few minutes to write that out. All right. So hopefully by now you have a pretty concise goal set out for yourself. So now that you have an actual goal, the next step is to make a plan of action. So you should have already answered the who, what, when, where, and why. So now you actually have to set up the behaviors that are going to require you to accomplish these tasks. So Jake, for example, you mentioned getting in shape. So, well, why don't you just tell me what you wrote down for your goal?
Fitness goal. Um, I'd like to you know, up my weight. I'd like to gain weight actually, and reduce the fat. I'd like to weigh 200 pounds. I weigh like 190 right now, and I'd like to go from, I think I'm at like 15% body fat to about 10, and that's the goal. Um, let's see. I guess I'm gonna have to start, measuring it out. I've got to figure out a way to get in the exercise needed to do that. I like the push-ups idea, like push-ups every 3 hours or pull-ups or whatever it is. Um, I think that's a really good idea, just to break it up so that I don't completely exhaust myself with like a 4 or 5 mile run. Um, I am working on the diet right now. That's pretty well structured already, so I just need to add the exercise to the diet to make this thing actually happen.
Just combine it.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's two parts,
Well,
Average in the kitchen,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm no fitness expert or anything. My recommendation would be if you know like a personal trainer or a nutritionist or something like that, I would get into contact with them too. And you can say, hey, look, my goal is to gain 10 pounds and lose this percentage of body fat, and this is my deadline. These are the things I have in place right now. So, you mentioned push-ups, so you need to put up measurable goals for that. So let's say you do 10 sets throughout each day of 20 push-ups. Okay,
Mhm.
that's 200 push-ups. It's pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's
A,
pretty awesome.
a fitness expert may tell you more, or may tell you to do something else, or different styles of push-ups, whatever it may be, that'll assist with what you're looking to accomplish. But you have those measurable goals in place, and you consult with them, and they'll be able to fine tweak everything. So, for example, you mentioned you have a really good nutrition plan. They may actually be able to incorporate something into your nutrition plan that'll assist with burning fat and gaining weight.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
So that would be a good idea for you to do, to set that goal.
Get more information. Yeah.
Get more information, and by doing so, then you can really set yourself up for success, because you'll have all these definitive, markers for
Yeah, things
accomplishments.
you can check off the list, right?
Exactly. Well, and that kind of brings me to the next portion of this. So what do you do now? The next step after making an actual plan of action. So how are you actually going to accomplish this goal? So you mentioned meal plan and working out every day in
Mhm.
little bits and pieces so you don't overexert yourself. And you'll find out the details to that after you do some more research. But build a checklist. So now you actually need to find a way that every single day you can mark off that you've accomplished these things. So, whether it's at work, you have like a just a notepad, and you have push-ups, and every day you tally each time you've done your set of push-ups. That's your checklist. So
Cool.
if at the end of the day you're supposed to do 10 sets and you see only 3 on the board, that's a reminder you're not falling in line with what your goals are, so you know that you have to step it up the next time around. Or if you leave at the end of work that day and you say, hey, I got 10 on the board, hell, you know what, I'll do one more, I got 11. You're going to have a really good sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna see that. And if you do that consistently every single day, then you're going to accomplish the goal that you want. By tracking it, you're really going to be able to see whether or not you're in line to accomplish that goal or not.
Yeah.
So that brings it to the next portion, which is review goals daily. If you're just marking off on that tally sheet every time you do a set of push-ups, and you never really look at it at the end of the day and see where you're at, you're not going to know what direction you're going. So it's extremely important that you're consistently reviewing it. It could be any goal. So, for example, let's say someone owns a private online like website where they sell, I don't know, they sell cleaning products, and their goal is to go from like their current $50,000 a year earnings to $200,000 a year. Well, if they break that $200,000 up, you know, into months, into weeks, into days, and they know how much they're supposed to be grossing every day, well, they can check that daily. So if they say, okay, my goal is to make, you know, $4,000 a day, and over the course of this time, I'll hit my goal. Okay, well, if they only hit 2,000, well, that's half of what their goal is. So now they need to look back at their plan of action, see where they're not executing, or see what they need to adjust to be more successful in hitting their goal. And I think that's another issue that people have is they may set a goal for themselves, they may have a plan of action, and what ends up happening is maybe that plan of action doesn't work for them, so they just give up. You know, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to do, you know, 10 sets of 20 push-ups every single day. That's going to be part of my goal to gain weight and cut body fat. But 3 weeks into it, you find out that, you know, I don't know, I'm not losing any weight.
Right.
Or I'm not gaining any weight, I'm not building any muscle, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you're probably just going to drop it. Like, why the hell would you be doing it if you're not accomplishing anything? Which in actuality, what you should have been doing is reviewing the goals daily, capturing your progress daily. So if you see that there's not the trend that you're trying to accomplish, you can adjust accordingly. Like,
Right.
maybe you just need more cardio in. Maybe you need more cardio in your workout plan. So maybe you need to switch it to, you know, 5 sets of 20 push-ups and 5 sets of 30 jumping jacks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can change all those things, and that's going to help you as well. It's okay to do trial and error. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when a goal is achieved, I think I touched on this earlier, you can set the bar higher to ensure that you don't fall back into old ways. So remember when we were talking about how you know, you get stuck on your phone and it distracts you from work, and how I mentioned, okay, so like do 30 minutes a day. That's all you get. Set your timer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so let's say 3 weeks from now you're accomplishing that. Like you're hitting like 23, 25 minutes every single day. Okay? Well, normally what happens with people, I'll just give weight loss as an example. They start seeing the progress, they're doing well, and they go, oh, well, you know, it looks like I'm doing well. I can kind of cheat a little bit today. I can have a bad day today. And what ends up happening is that bad day turns into 2 bad days, turns into a week, and then they're back where they're at.
Right.
So the best thing to do is, instead of when you see yourself succeeding, when you're accomplishing your goals, instead of lowering the bar or kind of letting things slide, you actually raise the bar. By raising the bar, it's not only going to increase your productivity, but it's also going to help ensure that you don't fall back into your old bad behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I meant when, for example, if you know you're doing 23, 25 minutes a day on your phone, instead of letting yourself slide one day and just going hog wild, instead limit yourself to 20 minutes. See if you can do it. Test yourself out.
Yeah.
All that's going to do is going to make you stronger. Now suddenly, if you can stay under that 20 minutes, that 30 minutes is like nothing. Like
Right.
that's absolutely nothing. So that's always a good thing too. All right, so those are kind of my tips for that. But here are some tools that you guys can use to kind of help you accomplish these goals. One, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this. It's called a vision board. I would definitely recommend Googling it. There's all kinds of vision boards out there. Some people use it for superficial purposes. Some people use it for unattainable dreams. But I'm there, when I mention vision board, I would use it as motivation. So for example, you know, you're wanting to put on some weight, lose some body fat. Essentially, you want to get stronger, get trimmer, that kind of deal.
Right.
My recommendation would be on your vision board, find, you know, maybe like a magazine, like a fitness article or something, people who have that physique that you're trying to accomplish. Okay. Motivational quotes is another thing too. I mentioned a few quotes earlier. Quotes are extremely powerful. I mean, sometimes just reading them gets you pumped up. Anything can really be on your vision board. These are all things that when you look at it, it's supposed to serve as a motivational factor to help you follow through with your goals. Because like you said, Jake, sometimes in the chaos of life, you just get exhausted and you're just like, you know what? Like, fuck it, I don't care. I don't care right now. I just want to relax. Like, I'm done. Well, that vision board's there for you in those days. I mentioned earlier it's extremely important to have people there for support through your goal and also to hold you accountable. This vision board is there for you when those people aren't there. Those late nights when you come home and you're all by yourself and there's no one there to tell you what you can or can't do, and there's a gallon of Haagen-Dazs in the freezer. You know what I mean? This vision board serves as a reminder of what is my purpose,
Yeah.
Why is this relevant to me? Why did I set this goal? That's my reminder right there.
Gotcha.
Okay. The other, if you don't want to, have an arts and crafts section of your life, or, you're not very artsy, I'm not very artsy, a whiteboard is a really cool tool as well. They sell whiteboards at like Target, Walmart. I'm sure you can buy it at like Joann's Crafts or things like that. They're relatively inexpensive, and they're just like those whiteboards that you had in school. And you could basically just write down whatever you need to do that motivates you. So I already mentioned quotes, maybe words that keep your mind on the prize, your meal plans, your lesson plans, what your workout stuff is, to keep it in your head. We always need reminders.
If you see it constantly, it'll reinforce.
Yeah, it seems silly. It seems like redundant, mundane, and it seems like something that you'd have to tell a kid. Like I remember growing up, teachers would always say, "Oh, I have to repeat myself 3 times because you guys won't get it unless I say it 3 times." Well, guess what? Being an adult, it really isn't any different. Sure, you've gained some knowledge, but clearly we all know what to do, and we still don't do it. This is that reminder of why. The why is the most important part, and that's what those are there for.
Well, it's also good if you see it and you plot your progress as well. It'll make you hungry and make you want to push harder.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point too. Yeah.
Several years ago, I got myself into some debt, and I wrote out all the balances on the credit cards and the car payment and all this. And I would, every month, I'd just check it off, and I'd get pumped up to pay bills. It was weird. It was really weird. But I was really excited about, conquering that, because that's what it was. It was defeating something that was holding me down.
Yeah, it's a visual representation of what you're accomplishing. Mm-hmm. Something tangible, something that you could really see and feel. Because you can't see and feel debt. You can't hold debt in your hand,
Yeah.
But you can definitely write it down and check it off, and that's something that you can see. That makes it real.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so the next thing is, wow, am I already down that far? That's awesome. Okay, so the next thing is reminders and to-do lists. So in a normal busy day, no matter how pumped up you are about accomplishing your goal, like you mentioned earlier, Jake, we all get sidetracked. There's so many things going on in our lives. No matter how important this goal is to you, there's always something that's going to kind of take your mind off it for a second, and you don't want to forget it. Reminders or to-do lists are a great way to do it. So you mentioned you kind of had a to-do list with paying off your debt. Your to-do list was pay this bill, pay this bill, pay this bill, pay this bill, so on and so forth. That was something that helped you accomplish your goal because you had something that you can see.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
That goes back to also being able to track your progress.
Right.
That's something measurable. That's something that you can visually see and count off one by one by one.
Yeah.
Reminders, I'm pretty sure almost everybody in this group has a smartphone. Reminders are built into just about any phone. Well, every phone now. You can download an app if you need it. But reminders are helpful too. I
Mm-hmm.
would pick a time during the day that you feel like you'd most likely be able to accomplish this goal. So, for example, if my goal is to go running for at least 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and I set my reminder at noon, well, odds are by noon I've started my day or I'm at work or something like that. That reminder's not going to help me very much.
Yeah.
But if I plan on waking up at 8 a.m., and I set that alarm or that reminder at 8:05, the second I get out of bed, it's going to pop up in my face. I'm going to go, oh, shit, well, I got to go running.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I know I'm off work at 6:30 and I set it at, 6:45, so I'm pulling into my driveway, I know, okay, well, I haven't gone running yet today, so here's my reminder to do it. Let's go do it right now and get it out of the way. So that's helpful too. The other, and I mentioned this before, is inspiring quotes. So I know they help me a lot. I also love going on YouTube and just loading up motivational speeches and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you just type, for example, fitness motivation, you're going to see a bunch of YouTube videos with like public speakers and stuff like that, fitness coaches and stuff like that that are going to give you a whole plethora of like motivational quotes and sayings. You can do it for just about anything too. I mean, career-wise as well.
Yeah.
You just type millionaire motivation, and I'm sure a bunch of videos will pop up on YouTube about that kind of stuff. Podcasts too. For those of you who have never really delved into the podcast realm, it is incredibly amazing, and you're missing out. There are three main podcasts that I listen to on a regular basis that I would strongly recommend. This is for guys that are looking to improve anywhere from your health, your physical health, relationships with women, family, your girlfriend, your wife, wealth, so your career, or just overall like managing stress, personal growth, that kind of thing, mental stability. One of those podcasts is called The New Man, just like how it sounds, The New Man. Trip Lanier hosts that podcast. It's absolutely brilliant. It was actually one of the first podcasts I started listening to kind of through my own personal development journey. The other one is The Art of Charm. The Art of Charm is hosted by Jordan Harbinger. And this podcast actually ended up starting out as a kind of pickup podcast. It provides you with lessons and tools to help better, I guess, build your confidence with women. And it kind of, over the years, it's a 7-year-old program. It's actually morphed into more of the personal development realm. The host is kind of, I guess, over time seen the importance of a holistic approach to everything in life, and that's what makes you a more desirable man as it is anyways. The last one would be Knowledge for Men. Knowledge for Men is probably my favorite. That's hosted by Andrew Farabee. And he just started a year ago, and he's just over 100 episodes in. And he covers everything, but he interviews some of the biggest names you've ever heard of. He's interviewed the Wolf of Wall Street, the CEO of Zappos, pro surfers. I mean, you name it. He's basically dipped in everything you can think of. And by listening to these and hearing people that have either accomplished your goal that you're trying to achieve or just completely blown it out of the water, they're going to provide you with a lot of wisdom and a lot of motivation to accomplish those goals. I mean, listening to these podcasts on my way to work, on my way home from work, always get me pumped up, and I always have something to think about, after I get home and when I go to accomplish those goals.
Yeah.
The last thing is, and this is kind of why technology isn't such a bad thing after all, is applications. There are actually apps on your phone that are designed to help you accomplish the goals that you want to achieve. For example, I use Nike Plus Running on a regular basis. This app is awesome. It GPS maps your entire run. It'll show you the distance traveled. They even have professional athletes that leave you little motivational voice messages after some of your runs. They have milestones. They have competitions where you can compete with other friends to, hit like mile goals or, fastest times, things like that. There's another app that I use a lot. This is perfect for goal setting as well, or creating a to-do list. It's called Strides, Strides. Now, this one costs $5. It's not free, but totally worth the money. It allows you to really create measurable goals, where it has preloaded stuff built into it, so you could look up, I want to do push-ups. I don't just want to do like weightlifting or working out. It's like push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, curls, whatever it may be, or reading even. Like, for example, one of my goals recently has been to read more. So I've committed to reading 20 pages a day every day. So on Strides, literally I have that goal set right there, and every day I'll get a reminder. I have it set for 7 p.m. I'll have a little pop-up reminder on my phone that'll go, hey, have you done this yet? Mark it off right now. So then I go to that page, or I go to that app, and I can say, okay, I read, but so far I've only read, 12 pages today. So I mark 12. And what that does is, one, I go, okay, well, all I have is 8 minutes left. I can finish this by the end of the day. Or if I don't accomplish it, what it does is it'll actually graph out your progress. So you'll see, for example, Jake, you mentioned, you want to put on weight and burn fat. If you set all these goals in place and you see, let's say every Tuesday and Wednesday for some reason are the days that you're not achieving your goal, you can actually see that in the graph. So you achieve your goal every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, perfectly fine. But for some reason, Wednesday and Thursday, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row, you're not hitting it. Yeah. What that allows you to do is it allows you to look back to those days and you go, okay, so what was different about these days? Was it the night before? Was it certain projects? Is it that I'm busier those days? Or was it just because it's the middle of the week, it's the hump? So I'm exhausted, not motivated. It allows you to modify those things. And also it feels really good when you go through, all your accomplishments and you're like, oh my God, look at all these times that I read. Look at how far I've gone, what I've accomplished in comparison to maybe what you were doing before. So that's really cool too. There's a couple other ones worth checking out. One is Everest, like Mount Everest. You can set goals for yourself. Other friends can help motivate you, but it's kind of like a to-do list. You can check it off. It's got more social networking feel built into it. Lyft is another one, not to be mistaken with the taxi service Lyft. It's Lift. And that one's very similar as well. And there's a bunch of other ones. I know Art of Charm just came out with a new app. I haven't checked it out yet. But you can literally just Google apps for setting goals, and I'm sure there are tons of applications that you can do. The final tool that I would recommend is announcing it. Announce it not just to one person, but announcing it to the public. With social media, you having access to so many people at once, being able to sit there and share with everybody, hey, I'm setting a goal. This is my goal. This is what I aim to accomplish. One, you're going to have a bunch of people cheering you on, because nothing gets people more excited than seeing their loved ones hit goals.
Yeah.
I mean, how many before and after photos have you seen on your Facebook feed of friends that have just like completely transformed, and you're like, fuck yeah, like that's so awesome, like that, right? I mean, who doesn't? It's almost like a no-brainer. Well, the other benefit to this is you have these people holding you accountable.
Exactly.
So not only are you posting your goals on your Facebook feed, but chances are, if you're going to the bar with friends, that might show up on your Facebook as well. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to tell yourself, well, maybe I shouldn't go out tonight because my thought is I'm going to have a few drinks, might post that picture on there, and everyone's going to see that I'm not accomplishing that goal that I said I was going to set out to achieve. Mm-hmm. It'll hold you accountable, and you'll have people there to support you through all of it. So that's the most important aspect of that. So that essentially is the hangout.
Can I share one thing?
Yeah.
Something that I started doing recently. I have several mentors that I go to for advice, and something one of them said recently sparked a thought, and I visualize a lot of things before I do them, and I visualized my optimal self. So it's like the question I ask myself right now is, what is my optimal self doing right now? And I visualize him like putting his hand on my shoulder and being like pointing me in the right direction. It's just something I've started doing that's kind of an interesting concept, to help me grow and become who I want to be. So
that's awesome. That's really powerful too.
That's something that I thought that would be beneficial and I should share. So
yeah, that would be good for like a vision board.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got
all those aspects that you want on there.
Something like that.
Oh, yeah, there you go, man.
What's my optimal self doing?
Excellent.
Yeah, right. The thing is, like, imagine and then doing. Imagine your optimal self. What is he doing now? There's the thought, the plan, and then the action that brings you into that optimal self. So.
That's an excellent example. Well, and I probably would like to use some of my psychology ideas in that idea itself as well, which is maybe writing a letter to yourself as the optimal self.
That's great. That's a great one.
So taking the time to maybe sit down, pretend like you are this man that you're hoping to be one day, everything that you want to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And ask yourself, okay, I'm going to write a letter to myself now from the future. What would I say to myself to get to where I need to be today? And that's really helpful too, because those times where maybe you're not hitting the goals that you need to, or you're not accomplishing those tasks that you set out to accomplish, sometimes reading that as a reminder can help bring that motivation about. And I think it's great that you have mentors too. I mean, to me, a mentor is vital to personal success.
Yeah.
It's always surrounding yourself with people that are doing what you want to do. That's how you become successful.
Yeah, it's like who do you listen to? I grew up and I didn't listen to anybody. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and there are a few people that I actually listen to, and those 3 or 4 people are like I really, take heed in what they say, and whatever it was that I can't even remember what it was that he said, but that thought of the visualization like really stuck with me.
That's awesome.
When I was with that guy, that mentor, so
cool. Yeah. Well, Jake, do you feel like you have a more concise version of a goal that you set out for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I've read, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich thing, and this, the SMART thing is a much more concentrated version of that in a lot of ways. And I liked the whole attainable. That was really, because I've got really lofty goals. There's some things you just can't control. And I'm definitely, at the helm, figuratively speaking. And that one hit home. It's like, what can I really, have an effect on? What is in my control? So I like that especially.
Well, and always tie your purpose into that too, because it's okay to aim high. It's always okay to have a huge vision, you know.
What do you
But
really want that goal for? Is it like an ego battle, or is it like genuinely good for your purpose? Like, does it really get you
exactly,
where you want to go?
exactly.
Mhm.
Cool. Well, Jake, do you have anything you want to share with the group? I mean, anybody who might be.
That, the whole imagine your optimal self was my big one of the night. So yeah.
Cool. Well, then this will conclude the Google Hangout, creating goals and achieving them. So I hope anybody who listened or is listening now got something useful out of this. And I'll have more of these in the future. Hopefully we can get some other hosts on here too to teach other aspects of personal success. And also stay tuned soon because we will be hosting another meetup, planning a bonfire. Chances are it'll be in December, probably before Christmas. So stay tuned on the group page for that, and I'll post information about that. So,
Very cool.
Jake, thanks for coming and joining
Thanks
the
for
hangout.
hosting.
And have a good night, man.
Take care.
All right, see ya.
Bye.